but COVID and recovery and managing to get by. We have now exited that phase for Broomfield, and we are now in the building, strategic planning, execution, and alignment phase. This is a key position. Because of that, we have about 50 applicants. The two that are joining us tonight, Amy Ettinger and Don Davis, we're not looking for this position. I shoulder tapped both of them. So, and the reason I say that, first and foremost, is it's not a roll of the dice on this position. For anybody that has been tracking closely, we have our mayor and city council here this evening. I'm 0 for 2 in this position. So we've had two individuals that, for a multitude of reasons, fit is key in Broomfield. For those of us that bleed blue, both of these individuals can do the job, or I wouldn't have shoulder tapped them. So the question, the Q&A tonight is a little bit different in that their capabilities, either one could come in and do the job. Tonight's about understanding who they are and their authentic self for fit. Employees in Broomfield are unequivocally, hands down, the most committed. We have a bunch of them with us tonight. The journey to this point has been rigorous for these two. And in Broomfield, you have to really want the job in order to move through these stages. It is not an easy process, and it's not one that you can look great on paper and interview really well and make it to the next slide. We don't operate that way. So I first and foremost want to thank both of these folks for believing enough in what we're doing here to lead positions. Both of them are very happy in their current positions. Over the last year, we have shoulder tapped a few individuals for key positions. And it's something that if they didn't believe in the direction that we were going in, if they didn't believe in leadership, and if they didn't believe in what the future holds for this community, you wouldn't move through this process. As we're continuing clearly to figure out the link. Sorry. So no, don't apologize. I'm sorry for those that can hear us but can't see us. We're trying to get the link fixed diligently and quickly. I can see everybody shaking their head in the back. This is our Director of Human Resources. You're going to moderate and ask the questions. She's going to lay everything out. If we have time at the end for questions, again, the questions that we're asking are more about who they are as individuals and less about how they handle specific situations. They both have a long history of proven track record of success, and thank you for believing enough in me and in our community and what we're doing. To have told your current employers to roll the dice. I know that's super uncomfortable. Please just take a deep breath and we'll have this be as informal as possible. They did do a tour of our fabulous city and county today. In addition to moving through some of the other intimidating factors of having all 22, as I'm looking at some of the department heads, 22 department heads walking in and fielding lifetime questions. With that, Ms. Macklin.
Okay, so Abby just informed me that if you go to the broomfieldchannel.com, you'll be able to see the video. Thanks, Abby. So thanks, Jen. As Jennifer mentioned, I'm Nikki Macklin. I'm the Director of Human Resources. Welcome. The City and County Manager has a tough decision to make. Peer feedback's a crucial piece of the process tonight. So you'll notice that there are comment cards on your seat, and if you need a pen, there's a cup of pens in the back. We would love to have your feedback. So whether you take time while you're sitting here to share your feedback and drop it in the comment box on your way out, or if you'd rather provide your comments electronically, you can certainly do that at the Broomfield Voice. Tonight, we'll be asking our 2 deputy candidates a series of questions with the hopes of just getting to know them better. Each candidate will answer the same questions, and we'll rotate who answers the question first. So the questions will be timed, and thanks to Kelly in the back, she'll hold up a card so that you guys know when you have 1 minute, 30 seconds, and 15 seconds remaining. And then the music will play when it's time to wrap up if you go over. Kelly, I forgot to tell you that. You'll have to sing. So in the interest of time, let's jump in and get to know our candidates. Each candidate will have 4 minutes to introduce themselves and share their professional bio. Amy will have you start, and then Don will follow. So Amy, with that, if you want to jump in and share with us who you are.
Hello, my name is Amy Ettinger, and thank you all for being here tonight and for listening to what we have to say. Thank you all for hosting us, the tour, and for all the hospitality that we've had in these conversations. Start with that. I'd like to just briefly cover 3 things for you, a little bit about who I am and some of the skills that I have and why I'm interested in this job. And I do have notes. I don't want to forget in the interest of time. So as far as a background, I came out here to go to college at CSU and never left. I'm one of those people. And I ended up studying political science, working at the state capitol. I moved to the city of Boulder, worked for them for about 5 years. And then when a man named John Hickenlooper became mayor in Denver, I moved down to Denver to help run the Public Works Department, and then moved over to be Deputy Chief of Staff in the Mayor's office. And I mentioned both of those because they're really, I think, interesting. No city is the same. Neither of them are like Broomfield, Boulder's, but is more professionally run with a city manager format, which I think there's a lot to be said for that format. Denver is very interesting, strong mayor form of government, so political in a different way, and certainly a lot larger in size. But I do think a lot of those experiences have helped me become the person that I am and position me well to work in a job like this. I mentioned, the time working in Denver. I have had a post-mayor's office. I'll keep with a quick run of show. Had some twins, took a different nonprofit role for a few years, and then I really missed government. So I came back to Denver, created a chief operating officer, a new role for our Office of Economic Development. And that included in Denver at the time, housing, workforce, business development, and I'm sure there's one more thing that I'm missing right now, our small minority business program. So we worked on those things, actually worked to grow housing, and ultimately Denver has now split housing off into a separate department because the issues are just so large. But I did have that time in economic development as the COO, and then I moved over 2.5 years ago to the airport to work on economic development issues at the airport. Very well timed, 3 months before COVID hit. So the airport, rather than doing proactive development, we had to work in really into just protecting the airport and the airlines and the businesses that we had to get through. So I'm sure I'm running out of time quickly. I can't talk about myself without mentioning I have an awesome family, husband, 4 kids, two of his, 2 of ours. Soccer mom. I'm mostly in Broomfield either for shopping or soccer, but I've been really excited to be up here. And I'm interested in this role because I think it's a great opportunity. It's a great community. I really do like the staff, and I miss more of the center operation issues, I would say. So I've worked in departments, I've worked in the city manager office, the governor's office, mayor's office. So I've seen different sides of the house, I would say, but I really prefer, I think, seeing kind of how everything fits together and then trying to make that work.
Thank you, Amy. Dawn, would you mind sharing with us a little bit about yourself as well?
Sure, thank you. Is this working? Good?
Yeah.
Working? Check. Okay. So my name is Don Davis. I'm currently the county manager for Jefferson County. We have approximately 600,000 citizens across 774 square miles of some of the best looking countryside that America has to offer. Who am I? Who is Don Davis? Because I do think that this job is mostly about chemistry. It's about who's gonna work the best with this community and with this team, because it is truly an amazing team. It's a Super Bowl team. I've had the opportunity to work my entire career for Super Bowl teams. I've just been that fortunate. So I was born and raised in Dover, New Jersey. Don't hold that against me. And had my first job when I was 11 years old, delivering newspapers, and worked at McDonald's for 6 years. I'm the son of my dad was a grocery store worker and left high school in 10th grade. So I'm a first generation, I'm definitely a first generation college student, but anyway, the Marine Corps saw something in me and offered me a scholarship to go to school. And I didn't have a school to go to at the time. And so my superintendent at my school says, hey, why don't you try to go to Rensselaer or RPI? And I was like, what's that? And of course, it's an engineering school in upstate New York. And I didn't know anything about it. He's like, you be an engineer there. And tells you how smart I was. My son's going to laugh because he's here today. He's heard this story before. He's like, Dad, I can't believe you're going to share it. But they said, you want to be an engineer? And I was like, I get to drive a train. I'm in. So, but anyway, from those early beginnings, I went to school there. I was in the Marine Corps for 27 years. From the moment I was a second lieutenant and commissioned in 1990, they put you in charge of America's greatest asset, its people, its children, its sons and daughters, and that's been a tremendous responsibility. I've spent my entire career in public service, more than half of that as the commanding officer or the CEO, and that's a tremendous burden. In fact, we talk about the burden of command and the burden of being in charge. So I know better as well as anybody, not better than anybody, but I know as well as anybody what Jennifer goes through every day. It's a very lonely spot at the top sometimes. It's a hard place to be. And you need support, you need a partner, you need teammates who can be there for you. So throughout my career, 32 years now of public service, I was fortunate enough to leave the Marine Corps and be at Jefferson County. As you know, the last 5 years have been a tremendous burden for everybody in local government. COVID, the economy, lots of different things. We've had, we had the Floyd murder and all the upheaval that created for all of our local forces. And so I don't know, I think Amy is an incredible finalist, and I think she will do an amazing job. I think that in the end, it's going to come down to chemistry and, to who's going to be able to relate and to do those types of things. I am a dad, a husband of 32 years. I've got 4 children, 4 amazing children. I'm going to be a grandfather here in a couple of months. I'm excited about that. So with that, we can go to the next question.
Thank you. And Dawn, would you make sure your mic is on if you push?
I think it's on. Well,
okay. Kyla
red
mentioned.
light is on. Is that
So turn it green.
Oh, turn it green.
Yeah, we're picking you up on
Okay.
the mic
That's why I was
next to
asking.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. And that, yep, Dawn and surround sound. So, and then when you're done talking, you can turn it off. So Dawn, you will answer this question first, and then Amy will follow. Dawn, why are you interested in becoming the Deputy City and County Manager for the City and County of Broomfield?
Well, I think Jennifer said she tapped us on the shoulder. And I've known Jennifer since the day I got here. The first, in fact, I met her before I was hired. I was at an ICMA conference in Glenwood Springs, and I was getting the chance to know these these folks that are county managers and city managers, is contemplating this move out of the military, very successful career into local government. And I was amazed to find that the men and women that were in local government are every bit as patriotic as any Marine, sailor, soldier, airman, or coastie I ever had the privilege and honor to lead in almost 30 years. And so I was like, I want to be a part of this team. And so I've known Jennifer for a long time. I've observed her as the county representative for ICMA. I am now the president of the Association of Colorado County Administrators. And you got a great team here. You've got a great community. I love Jeffco. I think Jeffco is an amazing place to live. I have a fantastic team there. I will tell you that the attraction for me in particular from Jeffco to Broomfield is the city atmosphere, right? The city form of government is, I have 7 city managers that, in fact, I had lunch with them today, and we interact with them, and they'll look at me and they'll say, man, that county stuff's pretty tough, because you don't just have a council or commission, you have elected officials that are on the side as well. And so that's an added complexity. But like I said, Wyndham Marine Corps is a Super Bowl team. Jeffco is a Super Bowl team. I look at Broomfield, it's a Super Bowl team. The opportunity to come here would be fantastic, but it's a win-win proposition, because if I don't get this opportunity and you hire this amazing woman here, it's still a win, and I just feel great about that. So, to me, it's just the opportunity to work with, meeting Clay and Nikki and Amy and Anea and Matt and Jason and all of the folks. I mean, just amazing team. So it's pretty impressive. So why wouldn't anybody want to be a part of this team?
Okay. Same question for you, Amy. Why are you interested in becoming the Deputy City and County Manager for the City and County of Broomfield?
Thank you for that question. And I did get a tap on the shoulder. I did not know Jennifer before, knew of Jennifer by reputation. And of course, for years, have worked with Broomfield, either elected officials or staff in my prior roles, certainly more so when I worked for the city of Boulder, but even some in the Denver role. So, but prior to the tap, I would say, I mentioned earlier, I really, I love local government work. Little surprise, because I thought I got into political science, much more into Cold War politics and those big picture items. And I didn't know how interesting local government was until I got into it. But I really do enjoy that work. I especially like that local government really is the closest to the people and can quickly solve a problem, whether it's, I have my PTSD, if it's seven weeks of ice and snow from a big snowstorm, or, a big event, or, a recession that shows up, the teams I've worked with have been amazing, but you really are on the ground closest to the people. And I think you have that, the ability in a local government, especially a city environment, to come up with solutions and try to support people. And that's been really, truly fun and rewarding for me in my career. And as I've said, I've moved to work either for different reasons. I've made career decisions either to work for a person or a specific community. And in my conversations prior to being introduced to Jen, I was thinking about, I love Denver, live in Denver. It's a great community. It's big. And my husband and I are talking about being in a smaller community down the road a little bit. So I was thinking it would be great to work both in a smaller community, and then also I long for a bit of a city manager run form of government. Like good and bad both, with city manager versus a strong mayor form. But I was thinking that would be an interesting option for me. So I think when I did get the introduction, I was actually really happy to meet your city manager and speak with her. I think she's amazing. So for this particular opportunity, it's probably a combination of the type of work that I would want to do. That's this job is the type of work I'm looking to do. The people here, your city manager and the leadership team that I've met, are really impressive, and they're people that I would want to work with and for. And for me personally, I just think this would be a really great, rewarding professional opportunity. And Broomfield's changed so much and is continuing to change. I think that my particular skill sets can come in handy to just be a complement to the team that you already have.
Thank you, Amy. Amy, we'll start with you on the next question. What do you anticipate to be the greatest challenges facing Broomfield and overall local government over the next 5 years?
That's a great question. I think many local governments are having ongoing challenges with budgets, just resources, the constant balance between what do we need to do today and the long-term planning and just maintaining the assets that you already have. I think local governments are being impacted, especially in the next few years, with a loss of a lot of talent as some of the workers choose to retire in different categories, and that's going to impact local governments, other businesses as well. But just that loss of continuity and talent is going to be a challenge for the local governments. Some of the issues, whether they're housing, the rising cost of housing, wages are not rising at that commensurate pace, continues to be a challenge. And then, in a community like Broomfield, really, how do you grow and keep and maintain the character that has made the community so strong to begin with, while you're continuing to grow and add residents, right? But I will say it's a better problem to have than those communities on the East Coast that are perhaps in decline. But it's still a problem, right? Even, the growth brings a lot of great opportunity, but also some stress to a system. So just adding in new businesses, new residents, and trying to keep that the core values of the community.
Thanks. Dawn, what do you anticipate to be the greatest challenges facing Broomfield and overall local governments over the next 5 years?
So I think, thank you for the question. I think I get asked this question every couple of weeks when I meet and greet our new employees to Jefferson County, and this is usually one of the questions they ask. And I tell them, because it's true pretty much of the entire Front Range, that responsible development is probably the greatest challenge, right? Hands down, because we have people here that have been born and raised in Colorado, and they love it the way it is. And then you have a lot of folks that are moving here from other parts. They're coming from California, they're coming from Texas, they're coming from everywhere because they see what a great place this is to live, and you're connected so close to nature and to the environment. I mean, think about it. In an hour, I can be skiing, and in 30 minutes or less, I can be at a ball game, watching the Rockies or the Nuggets play or go Avs, and it's just a great place to live. But it also means that we need to address the development. We, just going around today, I mean, in Jefferson County, in the Denver metro area, the average home price is like $660,000. How does a police officer who works in Broomfield afford a house at $660,000? Or a police officer anywhere for that matter, or a school teacher? My daughter, my oldest daughter, is a school teacher, and she was contemplating coming out here, but she felt like the only way she'd be able to do that is if she lived with mom and dad. And you're 29 years old, 30 years old, you don't want to live with mom and dad, right? So I think responsible development, and the challenge is we have people that say you need affordable housing, but then as soon as you try to put it up next to them, they say no, not here. So then you get that NIMBYism, right? But I've discovered a new type of person. It's called the banana. Build absolutely nothing anywhere near anyone. Okay, and there's plenty of those around here too, right? But how do we balance that? There is a need to really balance the community, their needs, their desires, developers and the businesses, and how do we develop it in a way that's balanced? And I think that is hands down the largest challenge for the Front Range entirely.
Dawn, what's your process to build relationships, foster trust within the CCOP teams, the community, and our community partners?
What was the second? Can you read that again?
What's your process to build
Okay.
relationships, foster trust within CCOB teams, the community, and our community partners?
So in the military, we have a decision cycle. It's called the OODA loop. It's called the Boyd cycle, observe, orient, decide, act. So to begin with, for me, as a military trained leader, and it's not the Hollywood military leader type. I'm not Colonel Jessup from A Few Good Men or anything like that. But you got to spend some time observing, getting to know the team and the community, and listening to the needs and the desires, right? And so it starts out with observing, and then you need to orient yourself towards the different things that need to occur based on your observations. And then as you develop that plan with the team, you make some decisions and then you act. So observe, orient, decide, act. That's the basic process that my mind goes through when I look at different things. But I think in particular, it's get to know the community, get to know the commission and the council members, getting to know the team. I got to tell you, I can't lose in this. You know, even if I feel like I've gained some colleagues, I will, regardless of whether I get this job or not, I will stay in touch. I'm already regularly in touch with Jennifer, but you know, Amy, and of course, Demetrius. He used to work in Jeffco before he came over here, but you know, Clay and the entire team. I feel like I've gained some colleagues here, and you know, when you listen and you observe and you collaborate with folks, you know, listening to the chief talk so proudly about her force and about how she sticks up for people and the issues that she faces. I mean, those are all part of getting to know the team. And so I think you got to go through that listening process, and then you really it's a family. In the end, local government is a family. I love what Amy said earlier, and it's so true. At the local, unfortunately, local government gets broad brushed. Oh, you work for government. Well, I work for the federal government, and I can tell you that local government is nothing like that. And of course, the state government, the same thing. It's a very big bureaucracy and a big issue, and they don't get things done easily. I tell people all the time, I got to balance the budget. But we take communities' tax dollars, we listen to what their needs are and what their desires are, and we take those top dollars and we turn right back around and we invest it right back in the community. And we can make decisions on an annual basis. We're agile. I mean, that doesn't happen at the higher level. So being able to listen and engage the community, engage your team, and gain their trust. I think the two other big things is you've got to empower your people and you have to trust them. As a leader, all of the credit goes to them. As a leader, the blame and the buck stops with me. So when things go wrong, it's my fault. When things go right, it's the team's fault. So I think if you have that type of atmosphere and you have that type of relationship, that's how it works.
Thank you. Amy, what's your process to build relationships, foster trust within the CCOB teams, the community, and our community partners?
I'd start with if I were to get the job, I would want to start with the team in the city manager's office, right? Getting to know that team first, seeking their advice on who to talk to, certainly getting to know the elected officials, but working through the systems that already exist and trying to slowly get to know people in the organization, because it's just a person by person process, I would say. You just have to talk to people and get to know them. And some people you're lucky and you have an immediate rapport or a great relationship with, and others you need to work a little bit harder or listen and try to understand what issues matter most to them, not just what I'm doing, right? So I can't say, hey, I'm new, everybody needs to stop what they're doing and make time for me. Got to work around everybody else's schedule and needs, but I would want to move at the best pace possible that could work within the organization to get to know especially the internal folks first, and then getting out also into the community, the business community, and some of the neighborhood organizations and nonprofits to understand what their needs are. And that's some of the hard work. It takes some time, but it's also some of the most interesting, right? Is trying to understand what you're trying to do, not just what I'm trying to do, but what everyone else is trying to achieve. And part of the fun for me is trying to find a way where we can achieve mutual goals, right? Trying to find new ideas, new ways to get something done, so that it would be a process. And I think I would just start in that way.
Amy, professionally, what are you most proud of?
This question came up with the leadership team as well. I will say I don't know that I can say that there's one thing. I have 5, so I cheat. I don't answer the question. What do they say? Answer the question that you want to answer. I will find them in my notes. Actually, I won't find them in my notes, so I'll just mention it is a combination of things. And in local government, again, there are rare moments where you can get a brand new Major League Baseball team into a community, or some major business to locate, or some big win. A lot of it is day-to-day work, trying to make the community a better place, and sort of inch by inch, day by day. My list of what I'm most proud of, I think, is helping the organizations that I've worked for, and those leaders, whether they're the elected officials or the appointed folks that I work for, helping them to succeed. I feel really good when that happens. I'm really proud of some of the amazing people that I've hired and brought into local government, or stolen from one community that they might steal from me later, but letting these great people get experiences and move on and up in their careers. So that's been very rewarding for me. Helping governments adapt to changing circumstances. So that's federal law might change, and you have to sort of reset your processes. A recession might show up. The way you behave in an economic development office is very different in a good economy than a bad one, for example. But really helping those organizations adapt through those changing circumstances. I mentioned 7 weeks of ice when I worked for Mayor Hickenlooper. We had to come up with quick solutions, including, residential snowplow programs that we didn't have in the past, but trying to innovate, quickly come up with solutions. I really do, I think the word collaborate might be a bit overused, but I love it. I love to work with people, smart people, to really get everyone, all the smartest people together in a room that might understand the legal, the financial, the community, the other impacts, and really think through what can we do, how can we do better, how can we come up with a solution, and then deliver that and try to move that forward. Am I out of time? I'm looking. And then the final thing I would say, and it's come up in several jobs, actually, not just in the government side, but I've been able in certain roles to just restore trust where it's been broken. And that's really important to me. I think when we work in public service, it matters that you do what you say you're going to do. In government, and so every once in a while, you don't get it right. And if it was me or my team or my organization, I've jumped in to try to correct it, because we don't want to have that, right? We want to make sure that people understand that we're doing the right thing with the resources, and if we make a mistake, we'll own up to it and fix it.
Thank you. Dawn, professionally, what are you most proud of?
It's a deep question. I'm going to twist it a little bit, because I'm going to say that the things I've been most humbled by, I will tell you, as a leader of Marines, I've been most humbled by and as a professional, to be able to lead America's, their children, their greatest, the sons and daughters, the nephews, the brothers and sisters, the moms and dads, because they put special trust and confidence in you. And when you deploy with them, and you go overseas, and you accomplish a mission over there, and you come back and you bring everyone back that went over there with you, that's just something to be really proud of. Because when you go into harm's way, and you've got more than 1,000 people that you're responsible for it. When I was a battalion commander, I had 1,500 Marines, sailors, and soldiers that you just want to bring them all home. And so to be able to do that and accomplish the mission that you got to do over there has just been a great, that's one professional accomplishment. I'll tell you, probably one of my most fun positions was as a base commander in Albany, Georgia. And Southwest Georgia is a relatively depressed area. So being the largest employer in all of Southwest Georgia was a pretty big task. And as a base commander, you can either stay focused on everything inside the base, or in a community that's depressed, you can serve as a beacon of hope, and you can reach out to a community. Wilcox County, one of the neighboring counties, had their first integrated prom in 2013. I can tell by the expressions in the audience, is really? No, really, that's how some parts of our country are still not in the current century. So as a base commander, I would host racial healing meetings and to work with the community and interact with them in ways that would help to bring healing and reconciliation and maybe some progress. As a base commander there, we were able to, and this is the team, this isn't me, this is the team doing this. I just get the fortunate opportunity to lead them. We made the base a net zero base. So from a sustainability prospect, we put in a solar field. We put in we contracted with the county landfill and piped the methane gas that was coming out of the landfill and turned that into 4 kilowatts of power. And then we also did a contract with Procter & Gamble to set up a biomass plant. And so they had a biomass plant, and we would purchase the high pressure steam in order to turn a turbine and then sell them back the low pressure steam. And so that would generate another few megawatts of power for us. And so, in fact, later this month, the base will be celebrating that they've officially arrived at that net zero. And in another year or two, they'll be producing more energy than they use. And so they'll be able to sell that back in credits to the state. And so, the opportunity to just lead and to work with teams, that's the thing to be most proud of. And really, it's nothing that we do individually, it's what our team does.
Thank you. Don, what do you bring to the organization that will up-level the teams you'll support?
Oh boy. Maybe on that pinch of salt. You have that big recipe with all of the ingredients. It's this perfect stew, but maybe there's just something missing. And if maybe on that pinch of salt or a little bit of pepper, maybe some hot sauce. I'll be the hot sauce. I like that. So I don't know. I'd like to think I bring a sense of levity, humility, fun. I enjoy what I do. I think it's really important that to love what you do and you do what you love. And I'm privileged and honored to be able to do that, and humbled because I know a lot of people don't get the opportunity to do that. And so public service to me is just, I think all of us at one point or another in our lives, we want to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. That's what drove me to join the Marine Corps or to sign up to be a part of that. It's what drives me today, to be something. I mean, when you're a part of something bigger than yourself, you can make a difference in somebody's life, and you can help them thrive, not just to survive, but to thrive. And so I do bring a lot of energy. I have been accused of being the Energizer Bunny Rabbit, and I think Jennifer's been accused of the same. So if I might be able to keep up with her. But I hope that I could be that final ingredient that Jennifer said that she was looking for.
Okay. Amy, what do you bring to the organization that will up-level the teams you'll support?
I mentioned my background in local government, so I have a lot of different experiences from other communities that I can bring in to this one to provide some support and information, some other relationships. Certainly having been in the regional government in this metro area for quite a while, I do think it's a very strong team. So I'm trying to be careful with the words. I really would want to bring in to complement what's already there. And to your point, I think you said up level or upskill, right? I am very strategic. It is what I do best is actually trying to connect all of the different pieces. So that's just being mindful of what we're trying to get done in this very moment with where we're headed in the long run and all the whether it's just budgetary staffing, all the other needs. And I actually really enjoy working in that space. And I think that's my biggest contribution. And that includes everything from trying to carefully move a community or your employees at a pace that might work if the direction is changing a little bit through different circumstances in the outside world, but also maybe giving people an opportunity to work on a project that they haven't seen. And that comes back to the earlier question about how do you get to know people and build that trust. Once I know people on the team and where their skill sets and interests are, part of what's fun for me is to bring in someone who's normally not going to be in a meeting or in a conversation and let them get that experience or bring in their ideas or information, because that helps them grow in their career. And I think it almost always leads to a better outcome when you include more people in your process. And then finally, I would say in a different way, I just love the variety in local government, right? No day is the same. There's always something different to work on. It's really important work. But I enjoy that. And I think that's part of what I can assist with. I'm a little bit unflappable in that way. We've seen a lot. I don't mean to suggest that I can handle it all, but we've had good economies, bad economies, and a lot of issues. And I think providing some steady leadership through all of that is really important.
Amy, what do you need from your team to be the best version of yourself?
Communication, honest communication. That's, I think, the most important thing when we are all understanding of the direction where we need to go, what we're trying to accomplish, and if we support each other. And I've worked on. I'm not as lucky as Don. I've had some great teams and some maybe not so much in my career. When I really love it, it's my team, meaning the person I work for, my colleagues, the people that work for me. That we really are supportive of each other, and we're trying to move the organization forward. And there's a healthy sort of competition that can come into play, but not the unhealthy type where someone maybe doesn't want you to succeed. Because really, what my goal would be to help improve the organization, help achieve the outcomes for the community, and also help every person on the team or the electeds to really sort of advance in their own goals as well.
Dawn, what do you need from your team to be the best version of yourself?
Great question. Trust and love. I think you can't do public service without love, and I'll say agape love, and unconditional love for what you do and for one another. I kind of like to live by the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I know some people twist it, do unto others as you would. Yeah, I mess it up all the time. But, respect and love and service is a two-way street. I will give you everything I've got, and you're giving me everything you've got in return. That's all I ask. Michael Jordan says that he missed more shots than he ever made, but he kept shooting. So, fail fast. Give me everything you got. Keep shooting the ball, and I'm going to keep putting you in the game. And whether we win or lose, we do it together. But if we've given it everything we've got, then we can be proud of the accomplishment because we left it all there. In fact, the quote came up last night, but it's the reference to Teddy Roosevelt's speech in 1910, whatever it was, and I think it was April 27th. But it's he called it the man in the arena, but it's the person, the one in the arena. That together we're in the arena, though. You're not a critic, I'm I'm not a critic, but together we're in the arena, fighting the good fight, daring greatly. And if we fail, we at least know that we've given it everything we've got. So what I need to be the best version of myself is to know that the team is behind me the way I'm behind them.
Don, you've shared with us who you are professionally. Tell us your personal story. Who is Don Davis? You only have 3 minutes.
My son's here, so I don't. I'm just a guy, puts his pants on every morning, comes to work, gives it his best, goes home to a wonderful family, great kids. Try not to get choked up.
I put those tissues there.
Yeah. For those of you that know my son, sorry. He's been fighting cancer, and he's everything to me. And so as a person, I'm a guy who loves, again, I love what I do. I love my team, I love my family. I love the people I work with. I'll give you everything I got, and what you see is what you get. I'll sit down and, Vice was talking about it earlier. I am a guy, even though I'm a Marine, I'll sit down and watch the Hallmark Channel. My son didn't for a long time, but now he will, and he'll pretend to like it, but just because he loves his dad. But anyway, I'm someone who loves his country, who loves. I give you everything I got, and so again, I'm just kind of a person who works hard, plays hard, enjoys life, and I fight for the things that are really important to me, and I've been honored and humbled to be able to do that my entire life. So I'm pretty fortunate. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Never have to apologize for tears here.
I joked around earlier about you putting these tissues on.
Amy, you've shared with us who you are professionally. Tell us your personal story. Who is Amy?
I already mentioned my family, so I'm going to go back a little bit and tell you about how I grew up. And my father worked for the government. We always lived by water. It had something to do with underwater sonar, and he could never really talk about it. I was lucky enough to live in Puerto Rico, Bahamas, Hawaii, a very cold island in Alaska, and then back to Hawaii. So I say that for 2 reasons. One, I moved around a lot. It makes you pretty adaptable. When you're a kid, you mentioned your kids had to move a lot, right? It toughens you up when you have to enter a new school system, new communities, kind of start over again. But as long as you have your core family, you can get that done. But also my father was civilian, but working on government projects. And then my mother, later in life, when we stopped moving so much, went back to school to become a social worker. So, I don't know that I thought much about other careers outside of government, I have to say. I've thought about it some, and I've worked in the private sector. I think the private sector is great too, and so is the nonprofit, but probably it explains a little bit of where my heart is. And when I talk about the family that we have now, I'm in that sandwich generation that my retired parents live 2 miles away. And we're working on how to help take care of them as well as our extended family. But we feel very lucky to just be healthy and able to do what we do.
Thank you. We will now allow each of you to have 3 minutes to provide any closing comments. Amy will have you first, and then Don, you will close.
I would end again with a thank you for coming out here to listen to what we have to say tonight, and to the Broomfield City Manager and team for taking a lot of time to talk to us candidates about the community, what you're trying to accomplish, where you're trying to go. I'm still interested in this role. I think I could bring a lot to it. You do have 2 great candidates here in front of you, but I think my skill sets would be really valuable here. I'm really impressed with the team that you have. and you too pretty well that I've worked with in the past. The others I've just met recently, but I would love to have the opportunity, and thank you again for coming out tonight.
Thank you. Don?
Same question, huh?
Yes, sir.
In closing, thank you to Jennifer for the tap on the shoulder. It's been a great experience. I've gotten to know a great team. To the staff who has taken time out of your very busy schedules. I know as well as anybody what you do every day, day in and day out. So I know how much this disrupts the schedule, and for you to take the time that you did. Clay, you're an absolutely wonderful driver, and you did a great job today. But the entire team, I just appreciate. I know it's not. I know Jennifer says, "Hey, you're going to do this tour," and you're like, "Okay," but meanwhile, your email box is filling up and all that work stuff. So I really do appreciate your time taken out today. It means a lot to me, and the time that you've spent with us over the last couple of weeks, answering our questions and our phone calls and emails and so forth. That's been. I know that has taken time for you. So for you to do that, I appreciate that. I think Amy's a wonderful candidate, and I think she'd do a fantastic job. I do Jennifer's job right now in Jefferson County, so I get it. And I know Jennifer, I definitely don't think I'm a better candidate than Amy. I just think it's about chemistry. And, I don't think you'll go wrong with either one of us. And so I'm proud to be a process. Thank you, Amy, for being here. I think you're outstanding and a great example for others to follow. So thank you, everybody, tonight. Thank you to the community members that are here. Appreciate y'all being a part of the process. And I think it's important. I wish we would have more people as committed to being a part of the local government effort. We need more people to participate, less people to be critics in the stands, and actually be part of what we do. So thank you.
Thank you, Don and Amy. Thank you both for your time and your interest in the city and county of Broomfield. We've really enjoyed getting to know you over the last couple of weeks, learning about your experience, your leadership philosophies, and all that you have to offer. For those of you that took the time to join us tonight, whether you're here in the audience or you're at home, thank you for your passion and your interest to make sure that we make the right selection. We have a couple minutes before we wrap up, so would love to have the opportunity, Don and Amy, if you don't mind sticking around, we'll break when we're done, and then folks, if you want to come up and ask Don and Amy questions that are fitting to you, that I'm volunteering you to do so, so I hope that's okay. Before we wrap up, again, just a reminder, your feedback is incredibly important to us, so if you have time and want to take a minute to fill out a comment card, we would love for you to do so. There's a box right as you walk outside the door to the right, if you'll drop those, or you certainly can leave them on the back table. If you need a little bit more time to compose your thoughts, or you're joining us from home or watching the recording later, we would invite you to submit your feedback online at the Broomfield Voice. And with that, I'll turn it over to Jennifer for any last remarks. You're good? Jen is never at a loss for words, but we are good. So thank you all. Thank you for being here.